Yo, what it do, brothers? You are now tuned in All That R.A.R.A. with your Hebrew brother Milo Judah. What's good, brothers? What's the play? So, brothers, I have a question for you. Do you have a voice in your home? And I asked this question because I tend to see a ton of so-called black men speaking out about how their voice in their home isn't necessarily the be-all, end-all. Right, and when I say the be-all, end-all, that doesn't mean that the woman in your home, it's not that her voice doesn't matter. It's just, when it comes down to the final say-so, and when it comes down to being heard, and your voice being respected in the home, that should be the standard. So, that being said, when a ton of so-called black men have gripes or things that they need their wives or their women to correct, once they bring it up to their woman's attention, a lot of brothers are saying that, the woman is pretty much negating what the man is saying and flipping it to find a way to disagree. And what I call that is listening to respond rather than listening to understand. And what you brothers will see is once you bring a conversation or a gripe or a foible to a woman, most women, they're going to feel attacked rather than feeling like you're stepping to them because you care, rather than feeling like you're stepping to them out of being genuinely concerned. Because this society does not teach women to be accountable. And honestly, it doesn't teach a lot of young men to be accountable as well, right? So therefore, once you bring something to the attention of most people, then what they will do is try to deflect and hold the mirror up and say, well, you're not doing this, right? And okay, that may be the case in some instances. But as a man, when a woman brings something to your attention and you know she has a point, then the only thing you can do is say, okay, baby, you're right, and correct that. But a ton of brothers are pretty much saying they don't receive that energy reciprocated from a woman, saying, hey, baby, I don't appreciate this behavior in this instance. And instead of the woman saying, okay, you're right, the woman will try to find a reason to justify her bad behavior. I was just having a conversation with my brother D-Mac. Shout out to the brew. And we were having a conversation about how the dynamics of relationships are nowadays, and if a woman feels as if a man isn't doing what he needs to be doing as a man, then she won't do what she needs to be done as a woman. And we started talking about scenarios, and we related it to football, right? Because football is a team game. It's 22 people on the field, 11 on each side, 11 on offense, 11 on defense. If I play wide receiver and I have a slot receiver next to me, if I have to run a 9 route or a fly, and the slot receiver, he has to run a 5 and out, and he runs a 5 and in, I still have to run my fly route, right? Even though he messed up. Right, so Milo, what you getting at by that? What I'm getting at is people have duties. People have responsibilities. People have things that they are supposed to do once they are in a relationship, whether one person is doing what they're supposed to do or not, right? And I was also having a conversation with my brother Yasha. Shout out to the brew. And, we were talking about how a lot of brothers bring up 1 Peter 3:1 and how we feel as if that's a cop-out because, as a man, why aren't you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Like, we understand all men fall. Don't get it twisted. All men fall, and therefore you have to get back up. But for brothers to run to 1 Peter 3:1 when they know they're doing wrong, to sit here and say, hey, you have to submit to me anyway. Yes, she has to submit to you anyway, but bro, why are you doing wrong? Right? Like, let's address that first, brother. Because we understand that women are followers. And if a woman sees you are out of order, she's going to get out of order. And brothers also have the understanding that most women don't believe in the scriptures how men believe in the scriptures. So you could try to beat them over the head with the scriptures all you want. Brother, you have to lead by example. But anyway, we are going to watch this video. And of course, we're going to give our real and rare analysis. And the same things that I just explained about brothers not necessarily having voices in their home is what we are going to see here, but instead of in the home, we are going to see it on a panel. And when the brother tries to explain himself, the same thing happens. So, you know, it would honestly behoove brothers to find a way to set up their own platform and be able to get their thoughts off without anyone interrupting them, or for them to have a mediator if they are going to be on a platform like this, you know, where someone can say, hey, you know, let the brother finish his thought, or, you know. But anyway, let's do some real and rare analysis, brothers. Let's get it.
Things. And I'm just going, ladies, give me grace.
See, this is the problem. And it's not necessarily a big deal at the moment, but it can become a big deal. And this is why I stated that brothers need to create their own platform. That way they can voice themselves without having anyone interrupt them. A man should not be saying, ladies, give me grace, because he's about to speak his mind. He should just be able to speak his mind.
I don't feel like men are given that safe space in a relationship to be vulnerable and to be honest without being judged or without it being hijacked about how I made you feel about my honesty.
But first off, brother, with all due respect, I don't think you should be premising your statements by saying how you feel. You should just say what it is. Because when you premise your statements by saying, I don't feel, or I feel like, what you naturally do is put yourself down on their level. And that subconsciously gives them the okay to talk to you like you're on their level. Therefore, in that moment, once you start to look for cooperation, what you're going to get is a debate. Brothers need to just say what it is and be done with it. And also, brothers need brothers. Brothers need one or two brothers that they can open up to and be quote unquote vulnerable with. And have these, you know, these conversations where they can tell a man, hey, you know, I don't necessarily know what to do in this instant. You know, I'm trying to get this woman to listen to me. She's not doing it. And, you know, the advice that his brother gives him is sound advice, is rock solid. And he can trust his brother not to go tell his business. Because when a woman knows that she's all you have, then she will take advantage of that. And it's not a knock against them. It's not being disrespectful. It's just what it is. Right? So therefore, you know, she has to know that you have other outlets when it comes to communication, when it comes to finding ways to bring peace to yourself.
And so what a lot of men learn to do through conditioning with dealing with women over time, even with their mothers.
The brother said even with their mothers. Brothers, have you ever tried to open up to your mom and it just went completely over her head? And she even kind of scolded you about it? So, you know, the next time you try to bring anything to her attention, or the next time you want to bring something to her attention, you just hold it in. Yeah, think about it. It starts at a young age.
Even with their family members, is learn to internalize this, because even if I have a legitimate gripe, I know when I tell you this, you may start to cry, you may start to flip it, and now I'm talking more about how you feel about what I said than what I actually said.
Is there a bucket in the room? Somebody bring this man a bucket. This nigga spitting. But facts, though. Facts. And I will say this, because, you know, you do see on social media or just in counseling with brothers, when they say that they say something to their woman, the woman will say, hey, you know, I don't necessarily like the way you said this. Look, I'll say this, man. Sometimes brothers do go overboard with things that they say to their woman. At the end of the day, that is your woman, you know, and you have to be the bigger person. Like I said earlier, I understand brothers fall, and there are times that brothers will get angry, right? Especially if he feels as if he's not getting the respect that he's earned as a man. But, you know, a lot of you brothers tend to just disrespect your woman anytime she messes up, right? And then when she starts to snap back, now you don't know how to take it. So, you know, I will say brothers do have to watch that. But as far as what this brother is saying, he's on point. He's definitely on point, because, you know, women will do that, man. Right? You can point out something to a woman and just off the strength of you pointing it out, she will find something to say about you pointing it out rather than what you're pointing out. You know, so like I always say, man, I say it in a plethora of videos, brothers, you have to understand the nature of the woman to understand how to deal with it. Therefore, when certain situations occur, you know how to maneuver. And I always say you have to know how to talk to the woman like a child without making her feel like a child.
And so we always talk about providing safe space for women, and that's a conversation, period, and stick that. But also for men, I think men are yelling and moving towards, like, I want to be having a safe space too. Keita, what's up?
I have a rebuttal to that, and I wonder if our rebuttals match.
That type of statement doesn't need a rebuttal. That's the whole point. That's a man expressing what's on his mind and asking to be heard. He's not asking for a debate. Like, they just don't get it.
What's up?
My question to that is now, because you said that you feel like the conversation goes there.
I told you he shouldn't have said he feels like it. He should have just said what it is. Women internally know that a man, he's not supposed to be emotionally based. He's supposed to be logically based. Therefore, when he starts talking about how he feels, she's going to use that against him.
Is that just what the conversation turns into, and that's how you solve a problem? Because you might say something, and then I respond, and that's how the conversation is going. Hey, I like the fact you opened up to me, but I didn't like the way you said it. So can we talk like this, or can we do that?
I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm a little slow. But I swear that man just spent maybe the majority of a minute saying the exact same shit she just said. Hey, man, that's why he shouldn't have said he feels like. He should have just said it. Therefore, there's no room for her to say, you say you feel like it. No, woman, this is what it is. When I say this, you do that. I don't like that. Stop that. Period.
So, in a small example, what I was talking about is what happened just now.
That's not a small example, brother. What you said, word for word, it literally just happened. Damn, they're like a prophecy.
Right. Instead of realizing how I felt was legitimate.
Instead of taking a step back to take the time to process what I said so you can understand what I said and we can have a conversation about what I said, what you did was automatically reacted to the tone in which I said it. Now you want to talk about my tone instead of talking about what I said. That's what you should have said, brother.
And it was real and it was authentic, and it's coming from a place of, this is actually happening to me.
What happened?
You said, okay, but maybe it's not happening like this. Maybe it's happening like that.
I gave you a different perspective.
She didn't say, maybe it's not happening like this. Maybe it's happening like that. What she said was, I don't like the way you said it. Maybe you could say it this way. Don't deter from your original statement, brother. And she's saying, I presented a different point of view. No, you did not. You said the same thing that he said earlier. Brothers, what you realize is when people are so determined to be right instead of just having a conversation, a lot of times they will corroborate your statement or they will literally make your point for you. You know, so just make sure you're not being emotional in conversations, even in heated conversations. Make sure you're keeping a level head. That way you can think about what you're saying when you're saying it, right? Even the scriptures tell you that. For you brothers who have an apocrypha, you'll find it in Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, verse 29, where it says, be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. So brothers, pay attention to what's coming out your mouth, especially when you're having a heated discussion, because just because you're over talking someone, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're right. Matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, when people who are over talking people to get their point across, they are usually wrong. So, take a step back, listen to what people have to say, and then address what they say accordingly.
Hold on, let me finish though. I guess what I'm saying is, it is that. What happens is most, and I'm generalizations, don't quote me, but most men on an average basis, probably word for word, cannot out-argue you or out-discuss you.
Agreed, which is why men should just say what they have to say and be done.
So what end up happening is, if you are more skillful with words, you're more skillful with twisting, semantics, or whatever, you will take control of this conversation. And this man didn't even get out what he actually wanted to get out. Yeah. And now
we see what happened though.
Exactly. The brother's closing statements were on point. Pretty much, when a woman has the ability to out-talk a man and play semantics, and the man doesn't necessarily have the ability to defend himself in the manner of wordplay, knowing how to break down her word salad, then that discussion is going to turn into an argument every time, which is what she wants. She wants a reaction out of the man. Therefore, what he was originally trying to get across, it never actually gets addressed. So, and to answer the brother's question at the end, who said, but did y'all see that though? Yes, brother, we saw it. It was clear as day. The man tried to make a point, and his point got cut off with her saying the same shit that he said. So, but hey, that's all that rah-rah, brothers. All that real and rare analysis. I hope you brothers got some understanding. And, at the end of the day, just, understand how to maneuver with these women. But first and foremost, understand yourself and what you like and what you dislike, and the standard that you are going to set as a man and what you will accept in your life. Therefore, you will be able to avoid a lot of the foolishness that a lot of so-called black men go through now with these women, right? So in a nutshell, take your time. Just take your time. And, when you're having discussions with your woman, be respectful, love your woman. And, like I said earlier in the video, be the bigger person, because, we have the understanding as men, especially young so-called black men, that our young so-called black women in this day and age are not necessarily in their right minds, and they're being programmed in a way, right? So it's going to take a lot of deprogramming if you really want to be with the woman, right? And, brothers can sit here and complain, and they can moan, and they can whine and sit here and point out all these gripes with the woman. But it is what it is. A lot of brothers have their own foibles as well, and a lot of things that, they have to overcome as well. So I say all that to say, just make sure you get yourself right first before you even think about getting a woman. Therefore, when you do get a woman, you will have standards. You will have preferences. You will have things that you will accept and things that you will not accept. And if she's willing to accept what rules you have in place, then y'all can have a fruitful relationship. If not, then, she can get to stepping. But yeah, man, you brothers be safe, man. Enjoy your day.